So this is our first application. WL1054 is probably the most common that we're going to run into. It covers the types of conduits: copper, cast iron, steel. The material we're going to be using is a FS1 Max. It's made by Hilti. We're going to go through some mineral wool, and we're going to be talking about annular space, which is the space in between the pipe and the gypsum. We have normally 5/8, anywhere from 1/2 inch to 5/8 is the thickness. And production rate, we're usually looking for about 100 penetrations a day. How I do it normally, first, most important for me is how you cut the tip. You don't want it too big, you don't want it too small. What I try and do is I try and cut it at a slight angle. So that way, as you're caulking, it kind of lays that material out nicely. So this is the material we're going to use, FS1 Max, made by Hilti. And I'm going to show you the proper way of opening the tube. A lot of people will use their razor knife and just cut it, and what it does is it makes a huge mess. It gets in the gun, it clogs up. It's better if you have a set of bullnose or some diagonal pliers, and if you can, you just cut that ring right off. Now that that's removed, you're gonna drop this down. So the goal is to keep that material inside the nose cone so it doesn't get onto the gun. Right? Install that, install your cap. Now it doesn't matter what direction, because you can move it however you want. Now we're going to go through the proper installation, and what we're going to try and do here is make sure that the pipe's clean. There's not a lot of debris there. Ideally, we'd like about a 1/2 inch gap around the pipe. And so what we're going to do here is we're going to start by building it up on the pipe itself. Okay? And we're going to build it up on the pipe as best we can. Okay? And then as it starts to fill itself in, what we'll do is we'll go around the drywall. Okay? Then we're going to take our slicks. There's various sizes. The reason we have different sizes for different size joints, right? So this is a bigger joint. I'm going to use a bigger tool, and basically I'm going to butter around it. Okay? And I always keep 2 slicks on me. Okay? And one is usually for cleaning, right? So as I'm going through, I clean my tool. If I have to stop and start, I clean it and go again. All right? Sometimes you have some things in the way. That's just the way it goes. So you want to make sure that you're doing 2 things. You know, I'm pushing it against the drywall so we get proper adhesion. You want it to stick. You can't just leave it, you know. And the goal here is to try and make it look nice. A lot of times it's above the ceiling. A lot of times it's not. We're going to fill this pipe penetration here. We're going to start by building it up on the pipe itself. And we're gonna come here and try to keep building it up until we fill that annular space. Ideally, we'd like a 1/2 inch gap all the way around. We're gonna take our slicks here, and I typically use 2. One for cleaning, keep my tool clean. Depending on the size of the gap is the selection of the size you're gonna use here. We don't want to push too hard. We just want to nicely smooth that in, making sure we're pressing tight against the drywall so we get good adhesion, and then also making sure, if I have to, I'll come back here and I see a slight pinhole where it's not filled. So what I want to do is just come around there, fill it again, push on it again. You want to make sure you're squeezing it into that gap. This application, we have WL1054 type fire sprinkler. We're going to be using same product, FS1 Max application, 1 or 2 hour gypsum wallboard. And the annular space, which is the distance from the wall to the pipe, 3 inches or less, you need 1 inch. 4 inches or greater pipe, you need 2 inches. You want no contact. Drywall thickness here, 5/8. Production rate, about 40, 41 of these pipes a day. We're gonna grab our gun. Same process here. We're gonna start building it up. It's got quite a big space. Just keep going on one side here until you get enough to then use that drywall. Flow it on there. It's gonna wanna sag in certain spots. On these areas where you have a lot to fill, I tend to fill it out farther away, knowing that when I tool it, it is going to sink back in. Take our slicks here. I'm going to start working this all the way around. Okay, clean this off. Come this way. It's important to make sure also we still maintain that same thickness. 1/2 inch, 5/8. It starts to peel away from you here, like it's doing. And we can run another bead on top. Run another bead here. And tool that in. You need to, you can get some of your material, put it on here, kind of butter it around. Go back the other direction, push it into that joint. And that's 3 inches or less fire sprinkler pipe.